Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ariah Jay podcast. It's good to see y'all. I'm Ariah, and I'm here with, of course, my friend and lovely co-host.
That intro was cringe as fuck.
Well, it's gotta be like a nice neutral.
Welcome back works just fine for people who actually pay attention to us. To be fair,
look, that's why I'm not saying back. You know, it's supposed to just be like a nice little like general.
I think honestly, if they didn't watch the first episode, then they're dumb, and they should go watch the first episode, then come back.
Well, some people aren't interested in our life stories, Jay.
Well,
which we still haven't told, by the way. That's a future podcast. Mm-hmm. Our life stories.
Honestly, this is just pretty much a show where we do whatever the fuck we want. Why not? What's the difference? You know?
Yeah, we just talk about shit. You know, like
talk about everything.
Yeah, exactly. Pardon the Band-Aid on my face. I got attacked by a bear.
A fucking bear, huh?
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of bears around here in Michigan. People don't know that. So I was just walking downtown, you know, and there was this big brown bear, you know. So it picked a fight.
Where
with
exactly
me.
in Michigan were you whenever this happened?
I was in downtown. Well, I can't dox myself, Jay. Come on.
You said Detroit earlier.
Well.
Is that doxing yourself? Is that where you are currently? I don't know where you are.
No, I'm not in Detroit. But yes, Jay, I was in downtown Detroit when I was attacked by the brown bear. Yes, this is true.
Well, no, you're not currently in Detroit, so it's not doxing.
Fine. Okay, you're right. I was walking down the streets
dummy.
in downtown Detroit, you know, a bunch of people around and such. And then there's this just big, like, 10-foot tall brown fur bear that just came around the corner. And it made eye contact with me, and I was a little worried about this because I've seen bears before. I'm a Michigander. I'm used to them, of course, right? But then this bear walked up to me and picked a fight with me. It like was about to throw hands, you know, like ready its fists. So I was concerned, and I tried. I was initially trying to figure out if I should just like run away or what I should do. But I tried to stand my ground first, and I was like, bear. You don't need to be here. I was worried, right? Because I didn't want the bear to be killed. You know, I didn't want the bear to just like get shot by somebody. You know, because I love animals, and it ended up just like clawing at my face, and that's why I have this Band-Aid.
You know, the funny part about this bit is that I feel like you've never seen a bear in your life.
Well, you don't know that, Jay. I saw a bear in Detroit earlier today.
Earlier today.
Yeah. It happened.
I'll tell you that I've seen bears multiple times in my life.
This is my proof. My proof is that I have a Band-Aid on my face.
Oh yeah, and totally if a bear got a hold of you, that's all you'd be walking away with.
I got lucky, okay? Come on.
You got really lucky, so it only nicked you once, and then it decided, I'm bored, and walked away, huh?
Well, no, then I ran away, because it hurt.
Yeah, but you couldn't outrun a fucking bear.
Well, look, cities are full of buildings, right? So I can run around corners and stuff.
I mean, yeah, but you wouldn't have enough time to make it that far.
Well, okay, so what I did, right, is when the bear came and clawed at me, I ducked right afterwards, and I just kind of like launched myself between like next to his leg, right? And then from there, while the bear was turning around, I went and ran around the corner behind the nearest building, right? And then at that point, I kept running down the street, and I was looking to the right of me at the street, right? And the street had cars, of course, so I was kind of waiting for it to clear up a bit. It wasn't a super busy street, right? And it got to a point where the cars just, you know, where I could cross the street safely, right? So then I just ran across the street. And then I went around another corner, and then I dipped into a building.
Jesus Christ, is that all you've been doing lately is just running away from bears?
Well, look, this is a bizarre experience in Detroit I had earlier today. That's it. That's all I'm saying.
Is that the only cool experience you've had within the past week?
Yeah, probably.
Boring. Jesus Christ.
What's up with your life, Jay?
Oh, you know, everything, because I'm awesome and cool. Aren't you gonna ask me, like, what? Like, you're the most rude co-host in the entire world. You know, like I was sitting there questioning you about your bear story, like trying to make sure that the audience had plenty of context. And you asked me one question and then you stopped.
Well, because you had nothing that I could ask a follow-up in. You said, oh yeah, lots of things.
You could say be more specific or something, genius.
Oh yeah, elaborate, Jay.
All right, so pretty much in my life, everything's been great. What the fuck's been happening? What the fuck happened? Sorry, that's a Jay Schlatt bit. So pretty much what's been happening in my life is a lot of school, you know, running around, doing stuff like that, making Christians uncomfortable because I think it's funny.
We're gonna do a religious episode one day.
Huh?
We're gonna do a religion episode someday.
Excuse me, that would be awful. I feel like that we just offend everybody within 0.2 seconds.
Well, the first 0.2 seconds would be spent as a disclaimer.
To be fair, I feel like anyone who would really cares that much about it would already be turned off by now.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if you watch our stuff and don't already feel uncomfortable that way, then, like, you're kind of, like, trying to get irked at the end of the day, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But pretty much, generally speaking, it's been a lot of stuff like physics. Physics is terrifying, dude. It honestly is. I mean,
you're taking physics?
I'm taking honors physics.
Oh gosh, is it algebra-based, I assume?
It's got, like, trig and stuff.
Yeah, algebra-based physics is even worse than calculus-based physics. Like, I took calculus-based physics in high school, right? And it, honestly, like, because obviously calculus is not as hard as people think it is, at least Calc 1. But physics is best explained by certain calculus concepts. So having an algebra-based physics class where they try to take that and they instead throw you with algebra formulas and stuff makes it harder to understand. It's horrible.
Dude, I just hate trigonometry. It's my least favorite thing in the entire world. Like, I don't understand sine or cosine or tangent or any of it. It doesn't make any sense. I could talk
about trigonometry for an hour, but
yeah, exactly. But nobody really wants to watch that, you know. I'm just saying, generally, as like a normal person, unlike you crazy motherfucker, it's pretty like complicated. You know, school keeps me busy, and busy being in a play, going High School Musical. Troy Bolton himself sitting right here.
Jay's playing the main character in a High School Musical.
Listen, man, I didn't do it. I didn't do it on purpose. I went out for Ryan because I thought Ryan was a funnier part, and then I walked into auditions, and she was like, "What if you went for Troy?" And I was just like, "What if I didn't?" And she was like, "Nah." And then I did one thing with Troy, and she was like, "Boom," and I was like, "No, thank you, appreciate it, but no, I don't like it." But now I'm here.
Oh no.
And I have to have in the plays in like a month and a half.
I'm sorry you've been forced for this. I didn't know you were forced into this. I'm sorry.
Jay Wilson is stuck as Troy Bolton at the end of the day.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh God. No, I just think it's funny more than anything. It's not really the end of the world. I just sit there and bully people.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, excuse me, I'm pretty easygoing. Whenever it comes to like music and working songs and dancing and stuff, like, it's pretty natural to me because I do it all the time anyway. It's just like having it choreographed better is the only difference. So I just run around and do stuff, and they don't really yell at me. Like, I had this script with a piece of paper, and I was running around, and there's my friend, and I run up behind her and smack her in the back of the head, then run away like crazy, and then I sneak up behind her, do it again, and then run away really fast.
That's theater for you. I mean,
it's great.
Theater kids are great. I love theater is fun because you can just be rambunctious and nobody cares.
Yeah, I pretty much do whatever, and they don't yell at me. It's pretty easy, I'll tell you. What else has been happening in my life lately? Well, I mean, generally speaking, we just got finished recording Deltarune, which is cool. Well,
yeah, we've been recording Deltarune because that is going out right after Homestuck Epilogues finishes on our channel. We're going to start
That's
Deltarune.
Been really fun so far.
Because we thought Jay had played Chapter 1 before, but he just didn't. He forgot everything except for Lancer's existence.
Just Lancer's theme more than anything. I didn't even remember Lancer as a character that well.
Fair enough. So then it just ended up being a blind Let's Play of Chapter 1, and we're about to start Chapter 2 in the near future, so it's exciting. I've played them both before, but after that, we'll see what happens when Chapter 3 and stuff comes out, but I think that'd be really fun to do on the channel still. But yeah, that's going to be really exciting. Deltarune, right after.
Dude, I'm so happy with that game. That game's so cool. I'm excited for Chapter 2. But, you know, like, there's stuff like that keeping me busy, and of course music, stuff like that, working on, like, covers and stuff. My favorite thing is sitting in the theater because there's, like, 3 pianos in there,
Yeah,
So like
that sounds fun. Yeah.
it's amazing because as a musical person, like people didn't even know I played piano till I started sitting in the theater and just sitting there messing around. Like my favorite thing was sitting there and like like Death of a Bachelor. I played it for you probably a million times, but I was sitting in the theater and everyone was sitting around me and they were like, "Hey, play something that you think we'll all know." And I was just like, "What about this?" Bum 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 bum, and they were like, "Oh my god!" And everyone got so hyped. It was great.
That's awesome. I love that.
I love it so much. I love being around other people who can sing and do stuff like that, you know, because like it's just good energy.
I agree. Yeah, I need to.
Creatives are my favorite people.
I really need to get into music. I really, really want to do music and such. But I don't know. It's really hard for me, and I know I just have to get past that initial hardship before. But yeah, and there's also time. You know, I don't know. There's a lot. But I really want to get into it.
Yeah, at the end of the day, what I've been trying to tell you, and I think that this is good advice for anybody who's trying to get into music or creatives in general, because this is just good general advice. It's like everyone gets that feeling, especially whenever they're writing, whether they're writing a book, whether they're writing like lyrics, whether they're writing anything or doing anything creative, even if they're just like making a YouTube video, where they constantly think everything they say has to have like 100,000 feet deep of like how complicated everything gets. You know what I mean? Like they feel like they have to dig and dig and dig and dig and get down there to like the heart of everything, and you know, like that's cool. And sometimes you can do that, and sometimes it's awesome, but you don't have to. Yeah. You know, like at the end of the day, you just have to have fun and like what you're doing. And I know that can be really complicated sometimes, and like it sucks. Like it sucks to have to sit there and be like, but I don't like this. Like then fix it. You know, stop being so hard on yourself, or add something that you think would sound better.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with saying or doing things that, you know, you might initially dismiss as too childish or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Like this one song I was working with people. It just like you just have to do whatever you're feeling. Like you could even go into it with just a chord progression and then go off of what you're feeling, or you could go into a session of recording and just kind of crack jokes the whole time. And it may sound dumb, but honestly, it's a lot more entertaining and a lot more thoughtful and a lot better than you'll ever think it will be.
Yeah, we are always our own worst critics.
You know, like especially creatives. Creatives are always like that. They think about their shit way too much. I can say that as a perfectionist for sure. I've thrown away probably 1,000 songs by now. I know 1,000's probably not. If I was actually being legitimate, probably like 500 songs. But still, like probably like 5 or 6 filled up notebooks just thrown out because I just don't like it.
Yeah.
And you know, it's okay. I think that at the end of the day, you do what you got to do and try not to dismiss your stuff as much as you want to.
Yeah.
Because I have I think I have like a 300-page book that's still sitting dormant because I never got back to writing.
Yeah, Jay, you should really share some of those songs at some point.
Yeah, exactly. That's the
thing. I bet people like them.
Yeah, one of these days I'm going to get rich and famous, you know, but I got to get past myself first. That's the hardest part.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. The thing with being creative is that I feel like in other mediums I'm so much less hard on myself, like especially like with like YouTube and like obviously this show too. I mean, I was stuttered like probably 1,000 times during this during this show and stuff. Like the first episode, obviously, I re-listened to it at the end. I was like, you know, because I think I was excited.
I mean, music is something you care deeply about, you know. Music.
Yeah, it's like I'm drawn to it, you know. It's different than all this because like all this comes naturally to me, and so does music. But like music's the thing. It's my thing, you know.
Yeah, you want to do music. Like that's
the main thing, you know, and that's why I'm so much more hard on myself because I've ever since probably even before 7th grade, like even back whenever I used to go to church, whenever I was like really little, I was like 5 years old, and I'd walk into church, and they used to have this little like children's choir that would stand in front of everybody and sing, and I was always the loudest because I really cared about it, and I was like, this sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Because I just got so excited. I still get really excited whenever I play certain things or hear certain things. Like, I don't think there's any better feeling than hearing like a song that invigorates you the way that you want to be invigorated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing.
Yeah, I know.
There's no better feeling in the world.
I believe you.
Because,
I agree.
You put on songs like, I don't know, like Sauce in the Rough, Break-Ins. That's like something, I don't know if anybody has ever heard of Break-Ins. I love him to death. He's one of my favorites. But it's literally just him with like this really cool beat behind him, talking pretty much like about how much better he is than everybody, and that's great. I love that vibe so much, and I wish that I had that energy so much more than I already do. Like, as much as I crack jokes, like, honestly, within my life, I'm really not that guy. And, like, everyone in my life knows that I'm not that guy. But it's just kind of funny to me. I don't know. But I think, bringing it full circle, it's just music, I care about it so much more. Because it's all that I've ever wanted to do and all that I hope to do. Of course, I'm still going to keep going with stuff like
music
this.
And stuff, and
yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
I want to play sold out shows
because it matters more to you.
Exactly, and I, like sometimes that's better, and sometimes that makes it so much worse.
Yeah,
because I feel like if I cared less, I'd be able to work it out so much better.
yeah, I know the feeling.
For sure, and that's it. You know,
I really really want to tell stories, right? And I've tried writing. I've tried, writing is the main thing that I tried because that's the only thing I could really do by myself. Like, I've got one story idea that's kind of just been in my head for a very long time, and I've even written like sample chapters of it. And I've discarded certain parts and kept certain parts over the years and such. And I really want to be able to tell that story. And I've got another story I've been working with somebody else on, and I really just want to be able to tell those stories. But it's so hard because I could write them, but obviously I think my writing is shit because I'm my own worst critic. And then I get into thinking, well, yeah, I should just keep going though. But then I stop myself and I'm like, well, but is writing really the way I want to tell the story? And it just gets really complicated. And the biggest thing that keeps me from writing is just myself. And that's something that I need to work through. But also I really, 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 really want to be able to tell some of these stories through video games. Through be it visual novels or actual RPGs or whatever. And I have the skills to make some of these video games in terms of the coding and stuff like that. But it's always been hard for me to manage a team. Not like the managing part, but like the gathering the team and getting them to stick together and stuff like that. Because either A, they're friends who aren't super serious into the project, they end up just not doing things, or B, it's what happens with UO that we talked about last time. They're
where
strangers,
everybody just kind of moves on,
and they just kind of move on. And I don't have any any actual like stake in their lives, I suppose. Which are both very bad things. So that kind of gathering a team and getting that team to stick together is the part for me I've always struggled with. Because, it'd be so awesome if I could have a small team, and by have, I don't mean, like, necessarily lead it. I just mean, like, a group of people that work together. I can work on coding. I can have another programmer if somebody's there, a musician, a graphics person, like, just a couple people, a small group of people, and that would be awesome to work with on storytelling and games and such. And that's really my passion. That's what I really want to do. And I'm working on it, but it's really hard for me to get through that. I don't really know what the next step is. But I don't know, I'm working on game development, honing my skills, trying to make other things. I'm currently working on, I don't know if it'll ever see the light of day, but a project where I'm programming The Legend of Zelda in Java, the first Legend of Zelda game in Java from scratch. And I'm recording the whole thing and I'm making it into videos, like tutorial series. And I'm not going to release it unless I finish it. I'm not going to upload that unless I finish it, but that might be a project that comes out someday. Which is super exciting because that's kind of just me working on my skills and building towards it, because that is really my passion. That's something that I really, really want to be able to do. And there's so many heroes I look up to that have succeeded in this. Like Toby Fox has succeeded in this, and he's really cool. I love like Maddie Makes Games and the whole team behind Celeste, because Celeste is a fantastic team.
Still really excited to play that.
Endgame. Yeah, we should play that on the channel at some point. It's so good. But just a lot of these little indie developers that make fantastic games by themselves or with very few amounts of people. And that's so cool. That's something I really, really want to be able to pursue and want to work towards. That's my creative outlet. And I don't really know how to continue with that, so I'm kind of still struggling with it. I guess I'll keep you guys updated. But I know, especially with the writing aspect, and I just kind of have to do it. I just kind of have to try. Yeah. I kind of have to keep
take
trying.
The plunge.
Yeah, and keep going even when I feel discouraged.
Yeah, for sure. That happens the same way with like wishing that I had a group of people to work with stuff on. You know, because like I found you, and what we do is great, and I love what we do. But like, you know, like musically, sometimes I wish that I had more people to work with. Like I wish I lived in a place where music was so much more bigger and more brash, and there were like millions of people that were just like, oh my god, I just want to get out of here. You know, like I wish that I had that. Like I feel like that would make that kind of energy. I need to be around that.
There's a surprising number of musicians up here. There are 3 bands / artists that I've discovered that were just from Michigan, and I'm like, oh wow, that's
I know
actually.
plenty of artists that have made it out.
Especially the Lansing and the Grand Rapids area.
It's just like it sucks because like there's so many people that I know that were from North Carolina that made it out, you know, and I love that so much. Like watching people like Mr. Beast, obviously biggest North Carolina person to ever.
Definitely the most famous North Carolina person.
Definitely the most famous. And in terms of musician, there's plenty of people who've done it too. Like, who was it? I think J. Cole. Yeah, J. Cole's from North Carolina. He was a rapper. I've never really listened to his stuff. But apparently he's, like, really big. And he made it out of, like, somewhere, like, 2 hours away. There's a guy named Glaive who's, like, in the hyperpop scene. Who's from Hendersonville, which is literally 2 hours away.
Nice.
You know, like there's so many people who've made it out of right here. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, there's country artists, obviously, who've made it. Like, there's, like, plenty of legends. I mean, not even legends, they're just people. Like, Luke Combs is a person who used to play in Boone, which is literally, like, 30, 45 minutes away. And he's just, like, he's so fucking big at this point. He's massive. You know, like, that's so cool to me. Just watching all these people making it out and doing crazy stuff, because I just want to do that so bad. That's why I listen to people like Brockhampton and people who talk about how cool it is to make it out and how they just did it. You know?
Yeah, it's awesome.
I really can't wait till that's me.
Well, I have the utmost confidence that it will be you someday, Jay.
You know, and I'm not meaning to be narcissistic when I say that. It's just manifesting.
No, I know. I gotcha.
It's not like toxic, and I'm just making sure people in the audience are like, oh my god, that fucking narcissist, holy shit, I fucking hate this kid. I hate this kid too, don't worry. But you know, like at the end of the day, like you can't tell yourself you're not gonna do it, because you know what happens whenever you tell yourself you're not gonna do it? You don't do it.
You're not gonna do it, exactly.
You don't do it, you know, and that's why I'm constantly writing, and I'm constantly doing everything I can to just get out and go and tour all over the fucking world. Fucking make this life whatever I want it to be. Because at the end of the day, anyone has the opportunity to do it. It's just whether you want it or not. How bad do you want it?
Yeah.
You throw yourself into it as hard as you can. Because all these people that we know now as famous people, like, they weren't who they are now from the get-go.
Yeah, exactly. Especially
it's like
when it comes to modern musicians and YouTubers who got it through the internet, who were, you know, lower middle class, somewhere in that range.
Cave Town, Conan Gray.
Conan Gray. Yeah, Conan Gray.
Quadek is a rapper
by Taylor
off
Swift.
YouTube.
You know,
yeah,
Taylor
exactly.
Swift obviously has been a big musician for a very long time now. But Conan Gray was inspired by Taylor Swift and got to the point where Taylor Swift said that his album's awesome. You know?
And I love that. Dude, that's so cool.
That's so cool, right?
I love it.
Yeah.
Like, I can't wait to be noticed by all my heroes like that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna blow my fucking mind. And hopefully, like, meeting these people and talking to them and having conversations, you know?
Yeah. We always make jokes in our series about, like, having famous people on our podcast, you know, just, like, you know, have Burnham on our podcast. You gotta have, like, the Minecraft YouTubers, like, we're sitting Tommy in it, and those kind of people on our podcast.
I'll tell you those aren't jokes, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they're played up as jokes, and they're, like, jokes in the true sense of jokes, but they're also things that would be really cool if they could happen. We would love to work towards that, you know. But, you know, that's you know, it's wishful thinking. It's manifesting, you know, it's
yeah, and like, you know, like, there's 100% not me sitting here thinking I'm better than the other people or I deserve to get out. I'm just saying I'm going to put as much of my effort as possible to go and do something, because, like, even playing little festivals would honestly be satisfactory.
Yeah, and there are a ton of music festivals up here in Michigan. I'd love to take you to, and you could.
I love music. There's nothing better than music, because it's like the universal language, you know.
Yeah, Yeah, music is great. Like, regardless of what language it's in, even like you say, universal language. You know, like obviously there's a language barrier if you listen to foreign music, but you get the feeling of it regardless. There's
exactly what they're trying to say
music.
just from their instrumentation and stuff.
The magical part of music that makes it music is universal, and you don't need language to understand it.
You could do a fucking instrumental and people would understand. Holy shit.
Of course. I mean, there's the whole classical scene, right? And while I think classical music is fun to listen to sometimes in certain moods, I can't say I'm super into it in terms of knowing what it means and all of that stuff.
Exactly.
There are people who do. There are people who study it, and people who, like talk about Beethoven's works in certain ways, and Mozart's works, and Chopin's works, and all these things in certain ways.
Exactly.
And it's really interesting. Those don't have any words. Those are truly universal. In fact, I don't think any of those people spoke English that I just mentioned. So like. It's really cool. Music is really cool. There's something magical about it.
And I'm not meaning to be such a fucking nerd, because I could sit here and, like you with math, I could sit here and talk music for hours. You could name any artist and I'd be like, holy shit, I like this and that and this and that.
Yeah.
Did you know this and that? Like stuff like that. Like earlier I was talking Nirvana. I have one of their posters on the wall. That's Nevermind. That's their biggest record that they ever had.
That's a little hard to see, but
It's just a baby in a pool, pretty much.
Yeah.
And what's funny is that guy's trying to sue Nirvana now, so that's funny. Like that guy as an adult was just like, "How dare you put me as a child on your poster?" Even though his parents were cool with it and everything. It's kind of funny. He's not going to win the case, but it's kind of funny to watch,
Yeah, it brings up some interesting things. Like Nirvana did nothing wrong, but it does bring up some interesting things about consent and parents.
No. The worst part is that he was so cool with it for so long, and then he decided he wasn't cool with it.
So he changed his mind. Okay, well that's a little different.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it'd be different if, like, from the get-go, like, as a child, he was like, why would they do that? But it's wild to me because, like, he's recreated the picture numerous times as an adult.
Jeez.
And now all of a sudden he's deciding, I'm suing everybody. Everybody's fucking dead. But, like, stuff like that. I don't know. And they came out of Seattle, Washington. Well, Kurt Cobain came out of Aberdeen. They were, like, the first band I ever truly, like, sat there and absolutely obsessed on trying to find every little detail. Because I want to go to Aberdeen so bad one day. Because there's this bridge that he used to live under. He used to live under this bridge. And there's tons of graffiti and stuff all under it. And I really want to go see that one day. And one day I will. It's going to be great. But, just watching where all these fucking legends came from. The drummer for Nirvana came from Virginia, which is literally a state up. And stuff like that. It makes me... it's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
I just, my general the general consensus is just, like, it's so cool watching all these people get out and go do crazy stuff. And I think that people in general should go for it if they really want to. Like, it's not for everybody, but if that's what you want to do, then go do it. Don't let anybody hold you back, because at the end of the day, you're the only one holding you back harder than anyone else.
If you have a dream, work towards it. And, and nothing is guaranteed, unfortunately. But, like, if you have a dream, if there's something you want to do, regardless of if the people in your life think it's stupid or whatever they say about it, then work towards it,
Yeah.
And that seems so daunting. There's so much to working towards it sometimes. But if you can break it down into small steps, or you can be like, okay, what small thing can I do today that would help push me towards that future, If it's music, then maybe I should, try to pick up an instrument, see if I can learn an instrument,
Definitely.
Something small like
Especially
that.
When you're young. When you're young, you need to pick up shit.
If you don't have an instrument.
It's so much harder. It's so much harder to do.
Yeah. If you don't have an instrument or access to an instrument, but you have the internet, then check out a site like Beatbox. Beatbox.co, completely free. B-E-E-P, beep, like a computer beep, and box, B-O-X.co, is a free website where you can just kind of play with notes, and you can either use certain instruments that they have on there, or like chiptune effects, and just kind of make songs. And there's been some fantastic songs that I've heard on there. One of my friends did a bunch of songs on there for a while, and now he's doing like actual like lyrical good music that's fantastic. And I also have a couple songs that I've written on there that are pretty cool. And it's just a nice
They're so great. I love them.
It's a cool tool. It's a cool little tool, especially if you don't know much about music and you want to start learning. So that's a great resource, Yeah,
and you can do things. There's plenty of like free softwares you can look up. Like you can look it up on YouTube. Look up like free DAWs, which is a digital workspace. something like
Yeah,
that.
Digital Audio Workspace, DAW.
Yeah, that's what it was. And you know, there's plenty of free ones all over the internet. Even if you just have your phone, I know motherfuckers who sit there on their phones with like GarageBand. If you have an Apple phone, I'm sure there's an equivalent on. I know there's a mobile version of FL Studio you could probably crack if you really wanted to.
That's crazy. All respect to people who use those, but I couldn't imagine trying to go through a file on my phone.
Dude, so many of my fucking friends have made some of the most fire stuff I've ever heard off their fucking phones.
That's crazy. Like, the more
dude, and they sit there working with the EQ and stuff, and I'm like, why are you doing that on there? Like, that would drive me insane sitting there trying to figure it out like that.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Because, like, my buddy can play, like, instruments and stuff, but he doesn't have a guitar or anything. All he has is his electronics. So he had to, like, save up for a laptop and get himself a really nice laptop, then get himself one of those keyboards you can plug into it and then work with that.
Yeah. That makes sense, yeah.
And it's so cool, you know? Like, it's so cool watching people do stuff like that.
Yeah, it really is. And, yeah, again, end of the day, just go for it. Just work towards it. Small steps. And one day you might be a little more likely to accomplish it, and that's
exactly. And like this isn't me saying anything like trying to pressure you into doing anything you don't want to do. Figure it out, you know. Like if you don't want to do if it's what you really want, what I'm trying to push people towards is just do it. You know,
yeah,
like
exactly.
Like I wouldn't be here if I didn't just bite the bullet and send a message. Sometimes it can be that easy. Send a message out and be like, "Hey, I'm trying to figure this out. Somebody help."
Yeah, as we talked about last time, like this entire thing, this podcast, our channel, our friendship,
biting a bullet.
Lot of, a lot of the friendships I have today, you know, including my partner, is all from just that, you know, which is
just
so cool.
Move towards. So if you don't like the people that you're around, try to find some people, even over the internet. It's way better than not having anybody at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I feel like a lot of the people in my life that I'm the closest to are off the internet, you know?
Yeah. I feel similarly, yeah.
You know, it's wild, and especially whenever it gets to a point where you can work with them. And sometimes you don't even have to work with them. Maybe you just want friends, and that's different. And there's plenty of people who are looking for the exact same thing. I mean, obviously there's creeps and stuff, but like you can scrounge around and find people.
Yeah, it's not too hard.
Yeah, exactly. Like I found the people that I'm very close to at this point very easily. So so I'm just saying that anything that you're trying to do, whether it be creative, whether you just want friends, whether you want anything, you can achieve it. You just gotta work at it. Even if it's just something little, just try.
Yep, exactly. That's really it.
It's better to try than to not try, is what I'm trying to say.
Because it's the whole you miss 100% of the shots you don't take line, which I think is worded interestingly, but like it's correct. It's the whole idea where, you know, if you don't try, you're not going to succeed, right? If you want to be a musician and you don't try to make music, then you're not going to be a musician, or not, you know, you're not going to get noticed. If you want to write stories and then you don't write anything, you're not going to be an author, you know.
Exactly.
But if you write stories, or if you do try to make music, or if you just work towards that goal, then your chances go up literally infinitely, because it goes from 0% to a actual chance.
Not meaning to go straight back to music, but there's this girl, like, do you remember that "I Hate You, I Love You" song from like 2016?
Yeah.
It's like, I hate you, I love you know, that girl was 15.
Yeah.
Her name's Olivia O'Brien, and I heard her on a podcast at one point. She was like, what happened was I just recorded a cover of a song that the rapper that I was on that song with, hit one of his songs on SoundCloud, uploaded it. And that day he texted me and said, hey, you want to come to the studio and record something? And then she played that, and it became a fucking #1 thing.
I can't say I enjoyed that song very greatly, but I definitely...
But like, awesome. It's just the concept.
Yeah.
Like, off of one fucking thing. Dude, she was literally 15. It's the first song she ever put out.
That's awesome. That is so good.
You know,
that's so cool.
It's insane.
That's so cool. I love it.
Like, you know, like, it could be just like that. Like, you could have an amazing voice and post one thing, and somebody really big could be like, holy shit, that one.
Yeah.
And then you've made it. And that's awesome, you know?
And if you haven't made it yet, you can keep trying.
Yeah, exactly. Like we've been doing this YouTube shit forever. We've been doing this YouTube shit for like 2 years. And we haven't on and off, obviously, but like for the better part of 2 years we've been here doing this. But like, it's not like we made it.
No,
that's okay.
I mean, well, made it is subjective, but I mean that's a really interesting thing, to talk about, because it's like our experience with YouTube is amazing, right? Mm-hmm. Everything we've done, the community we've gotten, the comments that we get.
Yeah, like, I'm not at all trying to downplay any of the good stuff that's come out of this. I'm just meaning like. I'm just trying to make that more clear. What I'm trying to say is just that, like, you could work at something forever and ever and ever. It could take you like 10 years.
Yeah, and in the grand scheme of things, we of course haven't made it. We're still a very, very small channel.
But we're doing more than
we're still
nothing.
doing it. Yeah, we're still doing it. We're still trying.
We're meeting amazing people all the fucking time.
We're meeting amazing people. People join our Discord. We got people in our Discord we talk to all the time. Some of our best friends.
Dude, we've met like people way bigger than us and stuff.
Yeah, right. And there's that too, and it's just so cool because like I've been creating content in quotes, although it's very cringy to use a cringy word. It's very not good. I've been creating content since I was like 8, which is ridiculous. That was 14 years ago. I've been creating content for 14 years. And none of it was really good for quite some time, and there might be some good content that I had, like pixelated and stuff, but I didn't have the right equipment, I didn't have the right people to talk to, and there was just a lot wrong. But I was doing it for a very long time. I was doing it for a very long time, and I never really got success, or I never really got even a community at all. But I kept doing it. And I didn't give up because it was something I liked doing. Not because I wanted to be... I mean, I did want to be big, and I still do want to be big someday. But, like, that's not my primary motivation. My primary motivation is, this is fun, I want to do it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So because I wanted to do it, I kept doing it. And then I got better at it, right? I got more experience. I met people, right? And then I get someone like Jay. And Jay and I have a fantastic chemistry. We're very good at recording videos together. And while it still probably isn't as good quality as some YouTubers that might be out there, it's still something fun that some people seem to enjoy, and that's super cool. And we just kept doing it. We both are doing it because it's fun, and now we both have a community. We both have people in our lives that we didn't have before because we kept with it, because we wanted to try it, because we kept going, and that is so awesome. And like, I can't experience that and then for a second want to quit, for a second want to not keep going, because this proves to me that if I keep going, we could get bigger. We could grow the community. We could succeed even more, and we could things could get better even if I just keep going, because that's what I've been doing for the past 14 years.
They will get better.
That's what matters. That's what's important, right? Is you just keep going. You keep doing what you want to do. You keep pursuing that dream, and eventually you'll work your way towards it. And it's not a binary thing. It's not a you've made it or you haven't. You make progress towards it. Even with musicians, like, to make it, like, what does that mean? Like, you can get 1,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, and then with some people haven't necessarily made it, in quotes, but then other people have millions of listeners per month on Spotify, and it's like, and both of those people have communities. Both of those people, like, have a certain amount of success. Obviously one might be more successful or larger than the other,
but that's not what it's about at the end of the day.
Yeah. But neither of them are done. Neither of them are keep going. Neither of them are, both of them. They're both going to keep going. They're both going to grow. They're both going to get better over time. And it's not a binary thing. And if you work towards it, you will make progress towards your goal. And it's not guaranteed that we'll ever make it to our goal while we're alive. But like, it's better to be partway towards our goal than nowhere towards our goal. So that's, yeah.
It's wild to me thinking about all the old stuff I used to do to try to be a creative back in the day, Like, even back on my Xbox, like, before I even moved to where I am now, I was living out, like I don't know, like an hour away. And I was sitting there, and I was like, I think I was probably like 9 or 10, and I was sitting there figuring out how to record off my Xbox. And it was really shitty, don't get me wrong. like of course, like, no one whenever they're 10 years old is like, holy shit, like, I'm making such good stuff. Holy shit. But like, I wasn't the only one either. Like, I was making music with other little kids back then. Like, we were finding apps on our phones to work on. Like, I used to be that kid working on my tablet trying to make a beat that would work. Like, I was really inspired by people like Avicii and Coldplay and Alan Walker and like so many like EDM people, because I thought that was cool back in the day. Like, that was like, it opened up my eyes to music some more. And there's stuff like that, and like of course I was trying to make YouTube and failing miserably. Back probably only a couple years ago, like 2 or 3, maybe 4 actually. I think I was probably like 8th, 9th grade. I was telling a story. I was trying to tell stories over some shitty gameplay on my PlayStation.
Yeah.
You know, like
I still have all my old content up.
I wish that I hadn't deleted my shit. Because it was awful, don't get me wrong, but it would be so cool to look back on and be like, damn, look at that dumb little kid. Because I got rid of it all. And I used to stream on Twitch a lot. Like me and Adam, we were streaming together for so long. And like we'd sit there and we'd play fucking Fortnite, one of the dumbest games that's ever been released. But we'd sit there and we'd do it because, we felt like we'd stream like Call of Duty. Stuff like that. We used to do that all the fucking time.
Hell yeah.
We just felt like it, like it wasn't that important. We talked to chat if there was a chat, but most of the time there wasn't even. And that was okay.
Yeah.
We just sit there and we just do it because we were having fun and we were just like, I think we're pretty fucking entertaining when we talk to each other. And to be fair, sometimes we were because we were dumb. We still are dumb whenever we talk to each other. We just crack jokes, and that's what I do with everybody in my life.
At the time, you didn't have the best microphone, but
Yeah, exactly. Like whenever you're a little kid, like. Or even whenever you're whenever you're just getting started, it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just doing your best to try to make something and make somebody laugh or chuckle or just smile, like make you feel the way you do whenever you're recording it.
Yeah, although I do want to say that if you are trying to do something like content creation, equipment is the most important thing.
Definitely.
Because how entertaining you can be, all that stuff, what you talk about, all that can change fluidly over time. But the first thing that somebody hears, and I'm guilty of this sometimes. I try to give people more lenience than a lot of people I know, but there's a lot of people, even people I know, who will click off a video if the microphone quality is bad.
Exactly.
Immediately, right?
Exactly.
You can get away with bad webcams sometimes in streaming as long as you've got a good microphone quality and such. But the microphone is the biggest thing for content creation.
Definitely.
And you can get a blue snowball for $40, and I know that's not doable for everybody, especially if you're younger. But it's a very worth it investment. It's something that is
definitely that snowball saved us.
Yeah, it's the most important step to do early on in content creation, and honestly, probably for music too. Like have a good microphone to record your voice if you're gonna share it with people. Obviously, it's not as much of a first step since you might want to write those songs first before recording.
Before recording them, yeah.
But anything that has to do with vocals, like microphone,
just
is
do your
one
best
of the
to get all the creative stuff figured out. Like sit there and be like, hey, I'm gonna make sure that this works out because I don't want to sound awful to other people. I was just more meaning earlier whenever I was talking about using shitty mics. Whenever I would sit there and crack jokes with buddies, was because it wasn't about going anywhere.
Oh, of course, yeah. It was just about having fun with it, which is
exactly.
The most
that's
important part
what I'm trying to say. Is that sometimes all you're trying to do is just have fun.
Of course, yeah.
And like that's okay too. I'm just saying like it's wild to think about all those days, especially now where I actually have people that listen to what I fucking say.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Because I didn't think that'd ever fucking happen. I never thought I don't even know. Probably 10-year-old me who first started watching YouTube would never imagine almost 18-year-old me fucking running it.
Jay, I want to tell the story about the person, about the viewer I met in person.
Oh, okay.
I've told you this before, and I've mentioned the Discord, and I don't remember if we mentioned it in the video. I don't think we did. But this is one of the most surreal experiences for me. Actually, let's first talk about the story of when we first met Salty and Inharmonics.
Oh, God. Well, I mean, we already told the J-Apocalypse story, and that's pretty much how we got to... That's how we met
That's what happened. I guess specifically the moment of when they were in a voice call with us and they acted starstruck. Yeah,
the scariest thing in the entire world was sitting there and whenever that night happened, I was sitting there and I was just talking to them, because Ariah was still off working on something or sleeping or whatever. I don't know what was happening at the time, but I was sitting there talking to them.
Thanksgiving or something. I was in.
It was Thanksgiving, and I was sitting there talking to them, and they were like, "Holy shit, it's Jay!" And I was like, "Wait, what? What do you mean by that?" I'm confused.
What do you mean, holy shit?
What do you mean, holy shit? I'm just a person, And they were like, I never thought that I'd actually get to talk to you. And I'm just like.
Right? Isn't that crazy?
Like,
then,
it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, and, you know, when we were talking together and stuff, like, I remember, like somebody said that, they weren't talking much. It might have been in, but I'm not sure, because I don't remember exactly who said what back then. And they were like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not talking more. I keep thinking I'm listening to you guys in the background.
Yeah,
like in a YouTube
yeah,
video.
they keep thinking that we're in a YouTube video, and I was like, holy shit, that's wild.
It's like, I'm so used to just watching you guys in the background, and it's like, I'm not used to talking to you. Like, this is crazy. You guys are so cool. And I'm like,
Like, people actually, like, enjoying our stuff and, like, sitting there listening to it. I still can't believe we have so many fucking viewers.
That's crazy. And there's a lot
over
of
100,000 views on YouTube, motherfucker.
Over 100,000
Over
views on YouTube.
100,000 views.
And steadily gaining subscribers still, and just, like...
One day that's going to hit a million.
Regularly
Mathematically speaking, within another, like, 10 years, that's going to be a million.
Mathematically speaking, this is true. And the amount of people in our Discord server, like... the people who watch who aren't in our Discord server. We've got, like, 60 people in our Discord server, Jay.
That's wild. And people constantly, like, boost the server and shit.
Yeah, I don't get it. We should open a Patreon and say, don't boost the server, go to the Patreon. I'm kidding.
We need to make sure people give us money for something that actually matters.
Right.
But you know, like...
Though, like... That was crazy, and I like for a while that was the most surreal experience of my life. Just kind of like meeting people who had found my content over the internet, and like obviously Jay and my content, right? But then from there, talked to us and was like, "Wow, you guys are cool. You guys did videos, and I can't believe I'm talking to you." And it's like, that's crazy, because I would act that way for people that I watch who have
exactly.
Big, you know,
like it'd be crazy to me if I saw, like, a musician that I like a lot. Like, if I saw... I don't even know.
Wow, you know, I'm so used to listening to your music. I can't believe you're here, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
I was just listening to your song. Or they guess they say stuff like that. They're like, I was just watching one of your videos. And I'm like...
Yeah, right? And then, you know, in our end, it's like I can't believe that we're, like, obviously not as high. But we've had comments. We've had comments of people who say that we're one of their favorite YouTubers. Which is
wild.
Crazy. Like, what the fuck? Like, because for me, I can't, you know, that's putting myself in the place of people that I look up to.
Exactly.
Like, person's perspective.
It's wild thinking about
crazy.
People. It doesn't feel right, people looking up to us the way that we look up to other people, you know?
Yeah, and it's
fucking
insane
nuts.
and it's wild, and that got even crazier when I went to a convention with I actually met up with Discord user Inharmonics. Like months and months after we met and such, and I met up with them, and we went to a anime convention together, Otakon. We cosplayed as Homestuck characters. I was Kanaya, and they were Rose, and we were looking around for more Homestuck cosplayers because they've been to some conventions before and have seen Homestuck cosplayers everywhere, and, you know, had a group and such, but we couldn't find any anywhere for quite some time. And then eventually we ran into a Jade cosplayer, a really, really cool Jade cosplayer. It was awesome. It was in
yeah, I saw the picture. It's wild.
Yeah, it was like Cascade Jade, right? In that god tier get up with all the planets shrunk and everything.
Yeah.
And this person, we kind of met up and we hung out for a little while because we were the only Homestuck cosplayers we could find, you know. And there was rumors of other ones that existed, but we didn't see them. And then we just kind of walked around for a while, and then at one point, N brings up our the Ariah Jay channel, right? Our channel, and it's like, oh, you know, this person did a series on Homestuck reading with their friend, and then this person, right? This person turned to us and said, Jay, with her friend. And then Jay, as in that's the friend, right? And then we were like, yes, what the fuck? What, you know? They're like, yeah, I'm in your Discord server. And this was the most surreal experience of my life, right? Because it's one thing to meet people in a community that you set up that's like, okay, if they watch the content, they can join the Discord, they can be here, right?
But out at a fucking convention.
But, like, literally, like, having someone... And, you know, afterwards, they were like, oh, I knew I heard your voice before, but I didn't want to say anything, right? Which is crazy to me. Like, I fucking got recognized.
I'm
in
terrified
person,
of going to a convention.
which is
Because
crazy.
I feel like I would fucking melt.
It's so insane to me. Like
I'd be sitting there in the middle of a fucking convention, probably in a car cat or Lancer or some dumb shit.
one of those, yeah.
But I'd be walking through and it'd be wild to me to hear somebody be like, Jay Wilson, and I'd just be like,
who are you?
you know, like spin around in my chair, like, what the fuck? Who?
Yeah, it's such a surreal experience, and I don't know. I'm so like, I don't know how to process it really. Like I'm so thankful for it, but I don't know how to process it. But
Yeah, I
really cool time
wouldn't know
hanging
what
out.
to do. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that so much. But you know, it's stuff like that you really need to keep in mind. Because that could be
Yeah.
you in that situation. Sitting
Yeah.
there having people talking to you, like being like, holy shit, I loved that. Like, you know, like not to always bring up Brockhampton, but like something like in their documentary, because I've been watching it lately, so that's why they're on my mind. In their documentary, like, there's this guy named HK, who's like one of the like big producers, and he's been making beats for years and stuff like that. I don't even know, he's more of a graphic designer than a producer, but he does make beats and stuff. But he was sitting there, and he like whenever Brockhampton was made, they all just got together and like they looked at each other like, holy shit, I like your stuff. Like I love that cover that you made of that one thing.
Aw, that's so
You know,
cool.
and like that's so cool to me. You know, like people that got brought together were like, holy shit, I love that thing that you did, because they were all creatives before that.
But yeah, you're totally right though. Like we're not even that big. Like we're still very small in the grand scheme of things.
It's like all these
and
people that
we still
listen-
have these moments that
I'm
make
hoping
us
that the people-
happy, and these comments, and
I don't know. I hope the people that are listening to this that actually take this advice, I hope you outgrow us. And I hope
Yeah.
you do amazing things. And I'm not expecting
Seriously.
any type of like reciprocation. I'm just saying, go do it. They would
Yeah,
make
go
me
do
so
it.
happy.
it would make me happy.
I don't even
if-
want
yeah.
any fucking recognition for it. I just want you to go do your stuff, because honestly, anyone who's listening to this, anyone who anywhere could go do something fucking nuts. And that's all that I want for people to do, you know?
Yeah, and you know, and obviously that's not guaranteed for everybody, but it is guaranteed if you work hard enough, like to
Exactly.
get to like where we are, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very easily. Like if you have if you're confident in yourself and you work towards it, then you can get a small audience pretty easily now. The
You
internet
could probably
is,
get one faster than us and easier than us.
probably faster and easier than us, honestly. But it's very, very real and very possible, and like nothing makes me happier. Nothing in the world like makes me smile more than somebody commenting on our video saying that they loved it, or that we make them happy or something like that. Because
Nothing
like my
will
life
make
goal,
you feel better.
my life goal, like the reason I want to tell stories is because I want to tell a story that makes someone feel the way that I felt when I like saw some stories like
Exactly.
Undertale and like other games like that, and that's like my life goal is to make someone else feel a certain way, right? And with this channel, apparently, from what I hear, people enjoy your stuff and get entertainment out of it. So the fact that I put something out into the world that people continuously watch and continuously engage with, and that my happiness translates to more than one other person's happiness, is so crazy and surreal and awesome to me that nothing in the world makes me feel more complete and more happy than that.
Yeah,
And
that's why we do it, you know?
And it's crazy. I love it. It's crazy. It's time. It's wonderful.
It's wild. It's just wild that it actually happened, you know? Because I remember sitting there with Ariah and being like, what if?
Yeah.
It's wild when it doesn't become what if, it is.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Because you're sitting there and you're like, I can't imagine what me, whenever I first started this, would say.
Maybe we'll come back to this episode in podcast number 600 in a couple of years.
Yeah, exactly.
And be in a different spot, but gosh.
Maybe on podcast 600 we'll have a studio.
Yeah, right? That'd be so cool.
Number
What if
one
we do that
podcast in
weekly?
the world.
Number one podcast in the world.
If we do it weekly, how many weeks are in a year?
50,
365 divided by 7.
52? 52-ish, I think. Yeah, 52.14. So,
600.
about 11... Oh, 11 years. Wow. 600 will be in 11 years, guys.
Well, in 11 years, oh my god, I'll be 28 in 11 years.
God, I'll be fucking, what, 30, 32? What the fuck?
You're old. Cringe.
I'm 21. Speaking of
Boomer.
21, I'm gonna open my beer. Today, I'm
Boomer.
drinking a Bright White by Bell's. It's a Belgian-inspired wheat ale.
I still drink Sundrop.
Which might be what I drank last time. I don't actually remember, but whatever.
Please sponsor me. Please sponsor me. Please. I'm begging Pepsi to let Sundrop. I think Pepsi are the people that run Sundrop.
That would make sense. PepsiCo.
It's something like that. It's somewhere around here. I think Pepsi's. It was some type of soda started around here. Can't remember which one. It was something like that.
That makes sense.
But you know, like it just. I think creatives need to just be creative more.
I agree.
Because you don't have to be famous to be a creative. You just have to work on something creative, and you're a creative.
Yeah, exactly.
And you need to believe in yourself more. And this is more me not talking just to the audience, but I'm also talking to us.
Yeah.
Just in general, we as people all need to be like, hey, well, I'm gonna do it, and then fucking do it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like
Agreed.
that. And you know, as scary as it is, it's the only way that you can. What's funny to me is that not many people in my life even know that I do this. Like, I don't tell everybody in my life, holy shit, I'm recording tonight.
Yeah, that's crazy. You know, like, Adam knows,
There's Adam, there's, like, maybe, like, I have, like, a bunch of people in my life, but maybe, like, 10 of them know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy. I wonder,
And
yeah.
It's a double life, motherfucker.
Hell yeah. God, I wonder what if one day someone in your life finds our channel, like...
Imagine if somebody in my life, like, found the channel and they didn't even realize it was me till a certain point, and they're like, wait a fucking minute. And I'd be like,
Jay Wilson sounds a lot like that Jeremy Hodges fellow.
I'm trying to figure out where I've heard that voice before. They, like, call me and be like, hey, talk for a second.
Hey, I want you to say ladies and gentlemen real quick, but, like...
I'm so glad that I phased out that intro. As much as I love it, as much as I love that theatric, like, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you know, like, it's just so not inclusive.
Yeah.
And I already talked about that in a Homestuck Epilogues episode, I know, because the one that went out today.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to it, and I was like, yeah, we spent the entire intro arguing about why I got rid of it.
Well, I wasn't arguing. You were explaining.
Yeah, same thing. I was arguing with myself on why I should get rid of it.
Yes, sure. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, you know, like, it's just, like, it's wild to me, and, like, the amount of growth that can be made within only 2 years.
Yeah.
I'm 17 now. I was 15 when I first met you. You know,
crazy.
I'm gonna be 18.
Baby J.
I'm not gonna be Baby J anymore. You can't call me a baby if I'm a fucking adult.
True. I mean, but you still can't drink, so you're baby in my book.
Shut the fuck up.
Hey, people said this to me 3 years ago, so.
That's very fair. But, you know, it's wild, you know, because I don't even talk the same. My vocabulary has completely been fucking, like, expanded.
Yeah, Jay has been ruined by YouTube.
Dude, I use so many more words now. You know what I mean? Like, It's crazy to be.
Yeah, and you have an energy that you didn't have before.
Of course, because, like, you know, like, I think I just gained what all YouTubers have whenever they record, like, that energy about them that they're supposed to have.
Yeah.
Where they're supposed to be like, I'm larger than life, I'm fucking nuts, everybody fucking loves me, baby. Woo! You know? I fucking...
Yeah.
You know, like people like Jacksepticeye that I've been watching for years upon years upon years.
Jacksepticeye is another example, by the way, of somebody who, like, in the beginning was a nobody
in Ireland.
In the middle of nowhere in a cabin in Ireland, you know, and just making videos, having a really hard time with it because his internet was practically non-existent.
But he still did it.
And it took overnight to upload things and stuff. and his early content is arguably entertaining, right? So I like some of his early content, but his early stuff isn't really that entertaining, and that's fine.
But nobody's content from the get-go is insane like that.
Exactly, and then it just gets to the point where, and then he got lucky, he got noticed, right? Mm-hmm. Somebody, PewDiePie, found him and was like, wow, this guy seems really cool. And
that growth is necessary, I think that's another thing that needs to be said. It's necessary to start shitty.
Yeah. Oh, great. Yeah. And
because nobody, I think this is something that needs to be said. You're never going to be perfect from the get-go. You're not even going to be good from the get-go. You're going to sound like shit. You're not going to feel right. It's all going to be unnatural and awkward. If that's anything, whenever you start it.
And here's another thing, right? Yeah. Here's another thing. This is something that I've thought about, and I have had a hard time with kind of accepting about myself. Is a lot of the times I have an idea for something I want to do, but I don't do it because I'm like, oh, I'll do that when I'm better at this thing, right? So, for example,
but you don't get better until you start.
Right. For example, let's say you want to make video essays, right? And specifically, there's a really cool subject you want to talk about, and you want to make this really cool video essay about it, right? But you don't have any experience, so I'm going to put it off. Then you're not going to get it done, right? Mm-hmm. It's okay to start with it. It's okay to make a video essay that's not quite as good as the one you wanted to make, because then years down the line, once you've had that practice, you can revisit it and make it better. There are so many video essayists who remade their old video essays and made them better.
Exactly, because they had practice at it.
Same thing with music. You can make a song that isn't necessarily that great, but has cool things in it, like chord progressions and lyrics.
Then you can go back and
super well.
Dude, the best part thing is having demos
and make it again. Right, and demos. Yeah, you can make demos. Nobody's gonna complain if your demo doesn't sound perfect, because your demo, the demo is a rough song.
Dude, release like 1 million demos, and then you can go back, reproduce them, get them better once you're way better at what you do. And holy shit, you're a fucking god.
Yeah, exactly. Right. That's the whole thing. Make demos if you're an artist, right? And don't be afraid to share them, because they're demos, they're rough songs, and even get feedback
rough drafts of books you're working on, stuff like that.
Yeah. Make the video essay you want to make, even if you're not good at it. Write the song you want to write with it, even if you're not good at it. You can always come back and redo it once you have that experience. Also, I know this YouTuber, Echo607, who I've seen some of her RPG Maker content in the past. But she made a video game when she was 14, and it's not very good, and she admits that it's not very good, but she likes the character, she likes the stories, she likes a lot of aspects with it, and she remade it. Mm-hmm. She remade it years later, and it's on Steam, and it's not super well known because she's a smaller creator, but I'm excited to play it. I own the game, and I had a lot of fun with the very beginning of it. I've played, and she's made the game before, and it wasn't that good because she was young and inexperienced, but then she went back and remade it. And now it's I like what I've seen a lot, Exactly. And that's cool. Don't be afraid to start something because you're worried that you're not going to be good enough to make it as good as you want it to be. Because you can always
either go back or maybe you can realize in the future, holy shit, that wasn't even as good as this thing that I'm going to work on now.
Yeah, exactly. And then this gets a little more dicey when you have gameplay, Let's Plays or
hindsight's 2020.
Where you're playing things for the first time, and it's oh, well, you only have the first reaction once. And this is something that I'm struggling with. I'm struggling with being oh, should I play that game on YouTube? Because, I really want that series to be good, so we should wait. And it's, it gets a little more dicey there because, while I think you shouldn't wait for that, it's definitely a lot harder to justify that to yourself. Mm-hmm. A part of me wishes that we did Danganronpa later, instead of starting it right away, so that would be a better series,
I think, but at the same time, it's necessary to have that beginning.
Yeah, it's necessary to have something there to jump off with.
Because eventually it did get good.
Yeah, eventually it did get good. And near the end of that series, I think that was a good series. And
the fucking bits near the end of Danganronpa were some of my favorite bits in the entire fucking world.
Yeah, agreed. And, it's a shame that a lot of people aren't going to be able to watch those. But if we ever get to the point where we're bigger and we get a lot of people, then there are going to be people who are going to want to talk. We're going to go back and watch that content anyways, just to see, right?
Exactly, and then they're going to see that it was actually good near the end,
Yeah, they're going to see that, or they're going to recognize certain bits about ourselves that are the same then as now, or what we've changed, and it's going to be there for study's sake, and it's
like the World Ender Pastries bit, shit like that,
shit like that. Exactly, and that's just really important. And I guarantee you, if there's a game that you want to play, but you're worried to play it right away because it might not be good content right away, do it anyways, because there'll always be more games you're gonna want to play.
Exactly.
Games come out
Like
all the time.
you're never gonna
find
run
games,
out.
You're gonna get suggestions. There's gonna be so many things, so many
You're never
things for you
gonna
to
run
do
out.
that you're gonna be happy with content you make and happy with the games you play down the line, even if you play a game that you wanted to be a good series early on, but it doesn't matter that much. Like, it really doesn't matter that much. And that's something that I've struggled with a lot, but and still sometimes. But that is really what it is. It's just start, right? Even if you get something, even if you make shitty content early on, that's okay. Everyone does that. Everyone's shitty content.
That's why I just decided I was going to take the plunge with the games that I was suggested and just did it.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm
was
sure
it
there's
perfect?
artists.
No, of course not.
Specifically with artists, right? I don't know a single artist that has music, right, that they've shared, who didn't write songs before that they never released.
Exactly. There's so many unreleased shit. Dude, you could make YouTube videos and edit them down to whatever you want, and even if you don't want to release them, you still have that practice.
There you go. Yeah, that's yeah.
That way you don't have to feel the
right.
embarrassment, but you still get the same fucking thing, you know?
Yeah, and you can do that if you want. That's
I wouldn't do it, but that's just me, because I like to be able to look back and be like, holy shit, look at these.
Yeah,
you know, my favorite thing is going back to the beginning of our channel and looking at those series and being like, holy shit, who the fuck is that?
Yeah, and similar with me with some of my old content, which I would love to do at least a podcast episode or at least a portion of a podcast episode where we go through some of our old content and some of my old content from before the channel.
It's my favorite thing.
Really fun in the future at some point, but
watching your old like short films and stuff, it's awesome.
Oh my gosh, I love the short films.
Eugenius, best thing that's ever been made.
Speaking of Eugenius, oh gosh, I've got
film festival.
It on the back of my shirt. The bottom area, Eugenius with a mustache. This is an old short film I made that's on my old channel.
I've watched that video so many times. It's amazing, I love it. It's so good. One day we'll definitely show it off here.
See, Eugenius. I would love to remake Eugenius.
I want to be in the new Eugenius. Can we do Eugenius 2?
We could make it so much better.
I want to be Eugene.
Jay can be Eugene Smith. Gosh. Yes, we can make it better.
I want to play 20 different Eugenes.
Hell yeah, and we can do it better because I've got a better webcam for that. We can set it up properly.
I got a badass camera.
Lighting.
Dude, I can show you the camera.
Oh yeah, you've got your camera too. Yeah.
This is awful for the audio listeners. Still, fuck you, by the way.
I wonder if you could in the future use the camera for this podcast.
I could. The issue is that I don't have the wire that I need to do it.
What wire?
It's fuck, what is it? It's like what? I think you have to look up USB to Canon T7 Rebel. That's the kind of wire I need. Why?
Because it'll be there on Saturday. I have your address saved in my Amazon.
Anyway, so generally speaking, if you're an audio listener, first of all, fuck you. You should really like sit down and actually watch our show. This is more of a show if you sit here and watch it with us.
How dare you listen to our podcast while doing anything else?
That's what I'm saying. As one of those people that watches, I've listened to our stuff back to make sure that I'm better at it the next time that we do it. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that's necessary to watch your stuff back and try to see what you think would be better. But
yeah, you might hate it. But
the camera that I'm talking about, this is a Canon T7 Rebel. It's great, and I love it so much. Look at this camera; it's badass as hell. I've got two different lenses. I've got this one and a really good zoom that's like twice this or 3 times this, something like that. And you can play with the dials if you set it to manual. But if you don't set it to manual, then you're fucked. But yeah, generally speaking, I really like this thing, and I'm really happy that I got it.
That's super exciting.
Yeah, for sure, and we're gonna be using this to shoot on, and I'm gonna use it for the podcast. Dude, quality's gonna be so much better whenever I use this.
Hell yeah, I've got my Elgato 1080p 60 FPS webcam up here.
Yeah, this thing. I think this thing goes to 60 FPS too, so I'm really excited for it.
That's more professional in terms of like focus and stuff like that, which is
exactly. And this thing has like I said, all the dials on it and stuff that you can set. Like, I don't know exactly what they're called, but I've played with these dials, like, forever, trying to get the perfect focus and stuff. It's awesome. I'm going to set this over here, and I'll put it back away later. I'm just going to... Let's finish the podcast, and then I'll get back to it. It'll be sitting in the background now. Hi,
it'll be there.
But, you know, I'm really fucking happy with everything, you know? Like, everything's going to be great.
Everything's going to be great.
Jay Wilson's gonna take over the world, and Ariah's coming too.
Yep, it's gonna happen someday, maybe, probably.
My favorite thing is that like my favorite thing is that people know that I'm a creative, but they don't know that I do this. So like I'll talk to people about being like rich and famous, but they always think I'm talking music, which I am, obviously. But like there's also the possibility of this taking off and this being the thing that goes first.
Well, either way, right? Music will benefit from it, because if this ever does take off, then your music will be introduced to our audience.
Exactly.
So that's really cool.
You know, and it'll give me so much free time whenever I get like a constant sense of making money without having to go into a job.
Yeah, that would be great. That's really what I want. Like that's the thing is, I really want to be able to work on something creative without having to go to a job. Because
that's what I'm saying, is if I was able to put the same amount of work into a creative outlet as I want to, it would be like a job. I'd be working 8 hours a day on it, probably longer.
Yeah, exactly. It would be full time. It would like, oh gosh, that's the thing. My brain and body doesn't work well at going to jobs. Like it kills my mental health so much.
It's wild.
It's so bad. And I'm just not built for like the regular kinds of jobs. Either
9 to 5s.
The 9 to 5s or the like crazy hours service industry jobs. Like either one, I'm not built for either of them. When I worked at Starbucks, I kind of worked two opposing jobs. I worked at Starbucks and now I work this job that I'm at now. But at Starbucks, my hours, I was working up to 40 hours a week, which is what I told them I was gonna work, and I did dial down my hours, but that didn't really help. But I was working a lot, and it was all these hours that I couldn't really control. They just kind of like gave me hours 2 weeks in advance, and I had to show up. I could request days off if I wanted to in advance, but and then showing up, I just had to be there the whole time for like 8 hours and just work and just make drinks really fast, or talk to customers at the window, or take orders, or clean, or whatever I was doing. I had to focus all of my attention on, and it was really, really hard. I had to hyper focus on it, and then you'd usually work like 5 a.m. to noon, and then I would fall asleep when I got home. And that was so unhealthy to me. I'd fall asleep at like 1 p.m. and wake up the next morning, and it's like, I don't know, it was just super, super unhealthy for me because it killed my mental health. That kind of workflow is horrible in my opinion. Like it's just really, really bad for me. And the job that I work now is better, but it still kills my mental health and I'm tired every day, even though I don't really do much work. And it's like more similar to 9 to 5. It's really an 8 to 4, right? I show up at 8 a.m. and leave at 4 p.m. Where I work, I take groups of kids. I'm at an elementary school and take groups of kids and help them with math and stuff. And it's a rewarding job, and I enjoy when they get it and stuff. But I find myself dreading it, even though I don't really do much, because between seeing kids and stuff, I could be listening to music and doing data entry, or I could be watching a video and doing data entry, or I've edited videos at work before, because I have the time, and that's awesome, right? But I still for some reason my mental health still gets killed by it, and I still am dreading it because it's an obligation. It's something I have to go do. It's something that I have to wake up early for, and I have to do all the time, and it's really hard for me to get through that. And I get home and I find myself exhausted, even though I did almost nothing, and it's crazy, and I don't really know how to fix that or how to help that. But like, I don't know. I really need to be able to sustain myself as a creative at some point.
That's exactly my thing. I'm hoping that I can sustain myself before. I'm hoping before I hit 25, I'm sustaining myself. Yeah, because I can't do these jobs. I can't even. It's crazy, I do I used to have to do acrobats at my old job. I've talked about it. Worked fucking 80, 90 hour weeks, which is not healthy. It's like 2 full-time jobs and more. And I would be dying, and I'd. Yeah. But the thing was that I'd still come home and I'd still make time to do all my creative stuff, which wasn't healthy. Don't get me wrong, but it was just what I loved, and it still is what I love. That's why we've been recording so frequently lately. It's just like I enjoy it quite a bit. I can get everything that I want to get off my mind in my life off my chest here. It's great. I love it. Because I don't feel like I'm going to offend anybody, because people who watch this can always click off. You can't really click off me when you're in person.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it just and that's another thing, bringing it full circle to more creative stuff, is as much as you feel like your life is completely full and you don't have time for things, you do have time for things. Like, if it's really what you want, you have to make time for it. Even with your job, even with your school, even with everything. If it's really what you want, you got to make time for it. That's a really important thing. I remember Jay Schlatt on the Weekly Slap talked about it. He was just like, you know, like, even though I'm working at 9 to 5 and I have college and everything, I still use my weekends up on making these videos for you guys. And stuff like that, you know? And it's just like, because it's just what he loved, and he wasn't expecting to make a living off of it. It's just what he wanted to do, and he enjoyed the community and stuff. And at the end of the day, and another thing that I've heard from a bunch of creatives, and just in general, this is a good thing to say, don't think about it like a job.
Yes, don't think about it like a job.
Ever. Don't touch it like a job. Don't even think you're going to make money off of it. Because you're not going to enjoy yourself even a fucking little bit. We worked this thing like it was pretty much a 9 to 5 for so long, and it failed miserably.
Yeah, that crashed and burned. Like, while it may have been successful in the moment, you know, the
we may have been seeing growth,
daily content for months, you know.
We saw the same growth whenever we stopped.
Yeah, the growth didn't stop. We stopped uploading, and the growth didn't stop. That's the thing,
is that you got to relax. Like, for any creative that's pushing themselves too hard, just breathe. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, just like hold yourself back for a second and be like, wait, I don't want to burn. I don't want to crash. I don't want to burn. I don't want to burn any bridges, because that's terrifying. Getting to that point in your content creation or any type of creative where you're constantly pushing yourself to where you aren't even enjoying it anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Which defeats the
You're doing it more out of
place.
habit. Yeah, exactly. You're doing it more out of habit than you're doing it out of the love that you had from the get-go.
Yeah, and if you do manage to make money off of it, then still don't treat it like a job, because especially with creatives, like with creative things, there is no job security, which is one of the scariest things about it. There's no job security either. There's no, like, you know, there's no guarantee that, you know, if you make it as a YouTuber, there's no guarantee that tomorrow you'll get the same view count. There's no guarantee that next month you'll get the same view count, you'll get the same revenue. There's no guarantee that when you release a game and people love it, that your next game is going to be loved. You know, same thing with music. There's no guarantee your next album is going to be just as good as your previous album, you know, in terms of in the public eye, right?
Just like that.
So it's like, if you treat it like a job, then you'll be exerting so much of your energy without a guaranteed return, right? So
exactly.
My thought process and how I know I will feel if I ever get to the point where I make money off of it is, oh, this is really cool. I'm making money off of it. I can support myself and work more on my creative stuff, but. I almost want to disconnect it in my mind. The creative stuff is fun, and I'm making money. Cool. Let's take advantage of this by doing creative stuff, right? But if that goes away, I can make money some other way. You know.
Exactly.
If I think that creating the content is what's making me the money, if that's what's going in my brain, then that's a problem, because I'm treating that like a job, right?
And once you start doing that, you lose all creative flow, all energy, all that creativity you had just dies.
Yeah, if I'm making money doing something creative, then I'll think of that as, wow, I am so lucky that I get to be sustained by doing something I love. So I'm going to keep doing the thing that I love.
That's why I'm glad we figured this out from. That's why I'm glad that we figured that out from an early stage rather than later on.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if we're big YouTubers and we got to this.
Yeah, that would suck. That would be horrible.
Like, I'm so we're so blessed in that way, and I know blessed is like seems like a religious thing, but it's just true. Yeah, it's the only word I can really think about.
Yeah, and we're so lucky to have the experience that we have, you know, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
I'm glad that exactly we have 2 years of content creation under our belts, and that doesn't mean we're perfect. That doesn't mean we're any better than any other content creator. It just means that we have more experience.
But we are better than our first video. We are better now than we were.
We're better than who we were. Yeah.
And that's what matters. And that's all you can aspire to.
I'd love to go back in time and talk to 15-year-old Jay Wilson.
Have 15-year-old Jay Wilson on the podcast.
No, you know what? You know what? I wish I could go back in a time machine and smack that motherfucker. I'd be like, stop everything, get out of that relationship. It doesn't last anyway. Work through. Yeah. I mean, obviously, that's not the first thing I'd say. I think the first thing I'd say is, "Hey, you're gonna get rich and famous, and that's pretty cool."
Yeah.
But don't let that get to your head, dumbass. You know, something like that. But you know, tell them all the stuff that's happening and try to avoid as much of it as possible. Tell them go out, get rich and famous, work yourself harder, I guess.
But not too hard.
But not too hard.
mental health is important. Take mental health days. If you're not
I'm
feeling
gonna go back in time, tell
time.
like 13-year-old Jay Wilson to go on the internet and ask people about stuff.
But then you won't meet me. No.
No. I'll be like, listen, Ariah Civic.
This Discord tag at this date.
This Discord tag at this date. Make sure you text them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you got a random text from somebody at that point, I feel like you wouldn't answer.
I would answer. I'd be like, hey, what the fuck are you? You'd have to make up a story for, like, why you saw me.
No. I go to me, and then I'd teleport, because if I had time travel, I'd also have teleportation. I'd teleport to you and tell you the exact same thing.
Yeah. Fair enough.
You'd be like, why is an 18-year-old beating the shit out of me? Be like, shut up. I'd be like, shut up. Listen, this kid, he's really funny. You just gotta work with him to make him funny.
Yeah.
It's a better Jay than you have right now. And you'll be like, but my Jay's pretty cool. And I'm like, shut up.
That Jay is no longer named Jay.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, it's a fun story.
What?
Oh yeah, that's a fun story. You know, I don't think she's has any personal stuff attached to that, so I can tell this real fast. Cool. But apparently, the pixelated channel that I had before this, the last channel that I worked on before meeting up with Jay, was comprised of another person. It was me and another person named Jay, right, at the time, Just to keep that disconnect, I'm not going to say her current name or, anything about it. I just want to say it's really interesting that both me and that person ended up being trans. Both people on that channel were trans.
I love it so much.
Which is so fun.
I was the better Jay because I'm still Jay.
And, of course, it's up to her if she wants to, mention that she's the one who
I 1v1 to Jay, and I came out victorious. I killed a Jay.
Yeah. In the words of my good friend Teo, why the fuck are you still using your starter name?
Why the fuck are you using your starter name?
Your parents looked at a baby and looked at a flesh of meat and was like, "That's a Shelby," and you kept it.
I think it's my favorite thing in the entire world.
Your starter name's like starter Pokemon. You gotta, it's good to use early on, but eventually you're gonna want to diversify your team and use better Pokemon than your starter Pokemon, right? So, why the fuck are you still using your starter name 18 years later? Come on. You didn't even pick it yourself.
To be fair, I had 20 different names.
No, I know. I mean, you used Jay, which wasn't what so that's
exactly.
Technically not your starter name.
The thing is that I just have so many names that people call me. Throughout the years, I've heard probably everything. In elementary school, I'm obviously, my real name's Jeremy. So I've heard Germex, Germany. I've heard Jeremy because kids.
Oh
were
my
just
god!
dumb.
I can't believe that people called you Germany, and you have the story about being being Hitler.
I don't think can I tell that on the podcast? That's so funny. I'm going to tell that on the podcast. So pretty much, I think I've told this story probably 20 million times. But Generally speaking, Jay Wilson was Hitler in 8th grade.
First of all, this is a very dark joke, and I apologize, but we are not.
Yeah, I apologize. I wasn't actually Hitler. I don't actually think that Hitler was a good person or anything. It just
it's more like the example of a dictator, and it's like that.
Yeah. I think it's smarter for me to say from now on I was a dictator in 8th grade.
Yeah.
So generally speaking, in 8th grade, I'm not sure how exactly this whole bit started, but I started getting really popular in 8th grade. I think popular is probably the wrong word, but people started liking me and talking to me more efficiently and stuff. Efficiently isn't really the right word, but you know what I mean. And generally, I started walking around and people started recognizing me a lot more, and I was like, hey, that's pretty cool. But then one of my friends was like, yo, what if Hail Jeremy? And I was like, wait a minute. And before I could tell them no, then another person said it. And then another person said it. And I was like, oh shit, no. All of a sudden there was just a whole ass cult. No, cult has bad connotations and that gives bad bad publicity to the cult. It's a movement. The movement started.
The movement, yes. Not a cult, a movement.
Yeah, that gives bad publicity to the cult if you call it a cult, you know?
Yeah.
Dude, it was crazy. Like, people would carry me to class. Like, dude, and the scariest thing was one day I was walking down the hall and a 6th grader I'd never even seen before walked up to me and said it. And I was like, maybe this has gone a little too far.
Yeah.
No, and like there was a whole bit that I was literally running the whole world. And like I split it up among my friends. Like one of my friends had France. No, Adam had France. I gave France to Adam. My other buddy had the Bahamas. My other buddy had America. It was funny, you know. And then once 9th grade hit, I'm not sure what happened, but eventually like the whole thing died, and we all started fighting for land. And I think that it all ended with us nuking the world or something.
I love it. I didn't know that part.
Yeah, it's like a bit that happened in 9th grade. That's why you don't hear it anymore.
Oh yeah. I mean, I knew that. I just didn't know about the way it ended.
Yeah, it ended with pretty much all of us nuking the whole world. Like the guy who had the Bahamas apparently had like Atlantis at his disposal, and in Atlantis he had a bunch of nuclear bombs, and he decided that he was done with all the fighting because he was the only neutral territory throughout the whole thing. So he just blew up the world.
I love it.
But I'm still alive, so like, who's the real winner?
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
But
Gosh.
you know, like. It's pretty funny. But like going back to names I've been called. There's Germany, Germex. I got called back whenever I used to have like way longer hair. I had blonde hair at one point. I've had a bunch of different hairstyles. I used to get called Dr. Crazy Hair back in Science Olympiad, which was a thing that I did where it was just like a bunch of nerds pretty much doing a bunch of events and stuff. But there was Dr. Crazy Hair. I've been called an alien by people because like I don't feel like I operate like a normal human being does.
Me neither, Jay.
I've been called. I've been called person.
Crazy,
I've been called by so many. I've been called so many different things from so many people, and it's wild. So I don't think I'm using my starter name.
True.
Jay Wilson has all of the names.
By the way, I encourage more people to like use names that they want to use, even if they're not trans. Like, you can totally be cis and change your name. Like, that's totally fine.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
but I mean,
not that
if
you
you're
have
comfortable
to.
with
If you're comfortable with
yeah,
it,
exactly.
if you're comfortable with it, then
do
great,
what makes you
but-
comfortable. Don't care too much about what other people think. Do what makes you happy at the end of the day. 'Cause that's all that matters.
Yes, this is very true. But definitely, like, if you have something you'd prefer to be called by, or if you're cis or trans or whatever, then go for it. Like there isn't. When I say there needs to be more people, I mean like there isn't enough representation of people who use new names.
Yeah, and like go by your nicknames sometimes if you want to. You know, I've given a million people different nicknames. I've been called a bunch of nicknames. Like my buddy that I've known since I moved here. Like I've been calling him Bucky forever.
Mm.
Because like I wore a Captain America jacket once, and I yelled out into the gym, "I need a Bucky!" And he came up, and I was like, "Me," and I was like, "Hey yo, you will be one of my best friends now." And then he was.
I love it. That's so cool.
And you know you just do dumb
Stories
shit
from school.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember almost nothing
really
in school.
Cool. Yeah, I have a lot of weird stories from school. Like one time we were in math class and I used to read a lot. Like I don't think anybody would ever believe me, but I was a really quiet kid. Like really fucking quiet.
Me
like
too.
I wouldn't talk to. I had like maybe 2 friends back in elementary school. But I would read. I would read all the time, and you know I'm not saying this narcissistically, but I was fucking smarter than everyone else in that class. I was in all the AIG, all the everything back in the day. I was reading at a 5th grade level in 2nd grade.
Yeah.
But I remember that I was sitting there in math class and I started reading my book because I had all the work done. And the teacher stole my book from me. She was like, "Don't be reading while we're working on math." And I was like, "But I have everything done." She was like, "Shut up, kid." And I was like, "Oh." You know, there's like, I don't know. It was dumb.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
There's nothing to be sorry about. I just think it's funny.
Yeah, I mean, school system's horrible. Some teachers are good, some teachers are bad. Not all teachers
Definitely.
are perfect. All blah 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 stuff. education
school.
system.
We'll definitely have to have an episode dedicated to talking school stories for sure.
I agree. School stories. I don't know if I'll remember much, but I'll try. And
I have enough stories to last for the both of us.
Sounds good.
Anyway, I think that this is about a good point to probably wrap it. Because I think we've talked everything. I think this is a good episode. It's probably going to get named something about creativity. And
it's about creativity.
We can call it the creatives or something.
The creative.
Be more creative. Be more creative.
And in some twist of irony, it'll be the least creative name we can come up with.
Exactly. It's going to be some really dumb shit. So you can yell at future us either in the comments or tweet us or something, whatever you want to do, man. You just somehow, or you could even go to the Discord and be like, motherfucker.
Yeah. If you're listening to this in the audio, if you're listening to it on YouTube, then on our channel, there's links to our main channel as well as, which then gives us links to like Discord and Twitter and such. Or if you're watching this on Spotify or on some other thing like that, or listening, I suppose is a better word. Ariah Jay is the brand. It's pretty simple. Nobody else
uses it. You can put Ariah
Jay
into YouTube and it'll come up.
Yeah, and
youtube.com/Ariah Jay.
You'll find all our socials and tweet us, join our Discord, talk to us, whatever you'd like. There's even
TikTok
an email for God's sake in the business email. It's at AriahNJ spelled out at gmail.com if you want to email us. So
dude, you should. Dude, we could have. That would be cool to have people send in emails. That would be really cool.
Yeah, why not? Go ahead.
Do whatever you want to do.
What should we talk about? Yeah. Whatever
you can. Yeah, just tell us whatever you want to tell us, and we'll figure it out. Thank you guys so much for listening, watching, whatever the fuck you did. We really appreciate it, and I hope that whatever we said helped you in some way. Hopefully, you feel better about your creative outlets, and if you aren't a creative, that's okay too. Just support your fellow people and what they do.
Yeah, just love yourself, love other people.
Yeah, exactly. It's that easy. Just do what you already do and enjoy content even from small people like us.
Yeah. Exactly. Watch more of our stuff.
Definitely. So anyway, folks, thank you guys so much for listening, watching, whatever. We really appreciate it. And I guess we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for listening, /watching, /whatever, interacting. And bye.
Go fuck yourself.
Love y'all.